I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of Kyrgyzstan and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under memes, indivisible, with justice for Pepe. Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a while since I've posted, about 2 weeks. It's because I've been one sick boy. Anyways, it's because I had something wrong with my throat. Issues with my tonsils. They need to be removed, but my doctors that I've gotten are shitty. Currently living in Oregon, and the Oregon health plan is awful. The Democrats in office are the worst when it comes to trying to deal with healthcare. Yeah, impeach Kate Brown, all that, You probably don't know who that is, but she's the governor of Oregon right now, and she's proposing a ton of retarded bills, adding more taxes. She's bad news, and I would love to get her impeached here. Fix Oregon. Make Oregon great again. Anyways, I'm getting off topic there. So, I want to talk about the American flag today, specifically the Pledge of Allegiance. I know recently there's been heat in the news about the NFL not standing for the national anthem, which is different than the pledge because the pledge actually requires you to salute. The anthem doesn't. However, these protesters are taking a knee during the national anthem because of racism or something stupid like that. Anyways, unless you are so far left and your head is so far up your ass, you know that there is no systematic racism, and there hasn't been in the last 40 years, give or take, since the Civil Rights Act, yada yada yada. There's been progression in the world of social issues, such as racism, and a lot of it has already been fixed. Most, if not all of it, has been fixed. So what they're protesting about doesn't matter because it's not a real issue. It's ridiculous. Anyways, what I'm going to talk about, though, is a little separate from that. It is the Pledge of Allegiance, to be specific. In the Pledge of Allegiance, since roughly the 50s, there has been a statement in it, under God. And a lot of people are upset about this. Well, now, back then, it obviously got enough votes to be added to it. It was roughly added to it to oppose communism and to stand up for American values because America was based off of Christianity. Because of that, under God was added into the Pledge of Allegiance, kind of for symbolism. It's not necessarily religious matters, and that's why whenever this argument comes up, I'm not really confused, because I understand where they're coming from, but I just, I would like to inform some people on why under God is still in the pledge, and it probably will be. Come on, we have all Republicans in Congress right now, so, they're gonna remove it. It will basically be up to the school. And so lately I've been assigned a research project in my government class, and I decided to choose the topic. This was one of the topics that weren't actually on the given sheet. They just told me that I could give any topic that I wanted to, and I decided to do the pledge because of just something I was interested in. Wanted to do a little bit of research on, being that I'm, extremely patriotic and all that. And the issue that had arisen was not should under God be removed, but should the pledge be removed overall. My answer to that is obviously no. How unpatriotic do you have to be? How self-loathing of America do you have to be to want to get our Pledge of Allegiance removed? Seriously, it's not in any way a symbol of racism. In fact, it's a symbol of unity. It says, it said one nation under God, not everybody who is white under God, not everybody who is rich under God. It says one nation, so the entire nation, with liberty, justice for all, for all. It's actually probably one of the least racist parts of America documentation in existence, and people are still complaining about it. Mainly, they're complaining about under God, which, I mean, I understand from an atheist standpoint. I'm not an atheist, per se, but I can relate to them because I understand the skepticism of religion, which I have been very skeptical of as I've, started being able to think for myself and all that. Now, what their argument usually is separation of church and state, separation of church and state, which I understand. I understand how you could think that would fall under separation of church and state. However, the Establishment Clause that went on to become separation of church and state and schools, specifically removing prayer in schools, which is actually the only reason separation of church and state, which I'm repeating a lot, it's the only reason that law was passed was to remove prayer and biblical discussion in schools, was because they felt like it wasn't necessary, not only not necessarily for curriculum, but also it would discriminate towards atheists or Jews or Muslims, yada yada yada. Anyways, the reason separation of church and state was to remove prayer from schools. It had nothing to do with the Pledge of Allegiance, and in the Establishment Clause, it actually says that the Pledge of Allegiance is not to be included in that law. So whenever people bring up the argument of separation of church and state, I always have to bring that up because I understand, being uncomfortable saying under God. If you want to remove it based on your own beliefs, you're no better than people pushing their religion on you. It's absurd. And people don't realize this. Of course, they put their self-interests above anybody else's, which is human nature. People want to put what themselves view as the right choice over anything else. And with this case, though, under God is not an attack on atheists. It's not an attack on Buddhists. It's not an attack on Muslims who even believe in God. It's not an attack on anybody. It is a symbol of patriotism. And people don't understand this. And this is why I've decided to do this research papers, because I want to see the different responses of people, why they want under God removed, to see if it's not just separation of church and state or just atheism, if it's something else. Maybe it's offensive to them. I don't think it's offensive, and I know a lot of people who don't think it's offensive, but I do understand the viewpoint. I do understand it. But should it be removed? No. But does that mean that they should have to say under God? Whenever doing the pledges, I believe that it would be respectful to say it, but they shouldn't have to, because, of course, freedom of speech. Fifth Amendment as well. Freedom to stay silent. Usually people overreact. This is obviously a trend in the internet. People tend to overreact because it offends themselves. And whenever they overreact, they want to get something banned. Now, this is mainly seen from the left. I have seen it somewhat from the right, but I see it a lot more on the left side. Something offends them, they want it banned. Something offends blacks, they want it banned. Something offends Mexicans, they want it banned. Something offends Christians, they don't really care. Because apparently Christians are in the majority and have never faced oppression. But I don't think they know much about history. Think about the Protestant and Catholic argument that's gone on for years. Bloodbaths. Horrible wars. Christians have been oppressed just as much as any other religion. Back when Christianity would have started, there was the Colosseum, the lions being thrown on to the Christians just because they were Christians, the hangings, the silencing, the whole reason why America was started, because of the oppressiveness toward people with different ideas. And that's why I think that Under God should stay, because it doesn't offend Christians, but since it offends somebody else, they want it removed. It's the same thing with the wedding cakes. If you go to a Christian bakery and they say they won't bake a gay cake, they want that Christian bakery shut down. They go to a Muslim bakery, they say they won't bake a gay cake, and they're like, oh, that's just their religion. That's their preference. I'm sorry, but your head is very, very far up your ass if you think that one religion is less oppressed than the other. I don't even think any religion in the first world is really oppressed. There's no laws that oppress a certain religion. In fact, all the laws uplift every religion. First Amendment clearly states that no religion should be silenced. No religion should be, discriminated against. So, those are my thoughts on this issue. If you have any complaints about my thoughts or any arguments against my thoughts, if I've gotten any of my, facts slightly altered, please let me know. Thanks for watching. I know this is a different kind of video than I've done lately, but I just wanted to discuss this topic. I know it's a little longer too, but anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.